If this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit that like button and share your thoughts below. Tell me, where in the world are you watching from? I love seeing how far our stories travel. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss tomorrow's emotional journey. Another powerful story is waiting, one that might just leave you speechless. Until then, stay kind, stay strong, and remember, every story has a reason. I married Ethan Hayes when I was 26. He was charming, reliable, and kind. Or at least, that's what I believed. We had what looked like a quiet, steady marriage. For 5 years, I tried to be the best wife I could be. I cooked, cleaned, supported him through every challenge, and always waited patiently when work kept him late. But nothing could have prepared me for the day everything changed. Ethan came home one evening holding the hand of a little girl. No warning, no discussion, no explanation until that moment. He looked at me seriously and said, "Grace, I've made a decision. Vanessa is critically ill. Her daughter, Mia, has no one else. Her father passed away, and her grandmother can't take care of her anymore. I've officially adopted Mia. From now on, she'll be living with us." I stood frozen, the words echoing in my head. "You adopted a child? Without telling me?" I asked, my voice trembling. He nodded, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Then he added, "I've also decided I won't be having any more children. Mia needs all of my love and attention." I was stunned. That same morning I had taken a pregnancy test. It came back positive. My heart raced as I reached for the paper in my pocket, but something stopped me. I looked into Ethan's eyes and asked, "What if I'm pregnant? What about our child?" His reply was cold and emotionless. "Then you should terminate it. I can't be distracted. My love can only go to one child." I felt like someone had punched me in the chest. The man I thought I knew, the man I built my life around, had just erased me from his future without blinking. That night, we were supposed to celebrate our 5th wedding anniversary. I'd cooked his favorite meal, set the table with candles, even dressed up like it was our first date. But he never came home. Instead, he rushed to the hospital to be with Vanessa. This wasn't the first time he had dropped everything for her. On my birthday, on Valentine's Day, even on weekends, anytime Vanessa called, he went running. At first, I told myself to be understanding. She was sick. She was alone. But over time, it became clear. He was no longer my husband in any real sense. He had given his loyalty, his care, and eventually his love to someone else. And now, without asking me, he brought her child into our home, declared he would raise her as his own, and decided my future as a mother was no longer relevant. That was the moment something shifted in me. A quiet voice deep inside whispered, "You don't matter to him anymore." And that voice refused to be silenced. After that night, everything changed. I no longer saw Ethan as my husband. I saw him as a stranger I happened to live with. The warmth in our home disappeared, replaced by the cold shadow of his decision. But I said nothing. I hid the pregnancy, test deep in my drawer, and tried to convince myself it was all a bad dream. Maybe he'd come around. Maybe he'd remember our life together. I kept telling myself that, until the day the pain in my stomach wouldn't go away. At first, I thought it was just stress. I hadn't been sleeping. Ethan was rarely home. He was always at the hospital, taking care of Vanessa and Mia. And when he was home, he barely looked at me. I'd become invisible. I was exhausted, physically and emotionally. Still, I pushed through, until one morning, after a long night alone, I felt a sharp cramp that made me double over. Something wasn't right. I drove myself to the hospital. Alone. No one to hold my hand. No one to calm me down. I remember sitting there, heart pounding, surrounded by expecting mothers with glowing smiles and excited partners. I was just there, quiet, anxious, alone. The doctor called me in. After a quick ultrasound and a few questions, he smiled softly and said, "Congratulations, Grace. You're 7 weeks pregnant." I stared at him, stunned. 7 weeks. A real life was growing inside me, a baby I had dreamed of for years. On the drive home, I gripped the ultrasound photo like it was a lifeline. I felt hope, for the first time in weeks. Maybe, just maybe, this baby could change things. I picked up my phone and called Ethan. No answer. I tried again, straight to voicemail. I figured he was busy and decided to surprise him in person. But fate had other plans. As I walked out of the hospital building, I spotted them. Ethan sitting on a bench just outside, laughing softly. Vanessa leaned against his shoulder, her face pale but peaceful. Little Mia sat on the ground between them, playing with a stuffed bear. They looked like a perfect family. My husband, playing house with someone else. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just watched, the ultrasound photo crumpling in my hand. Then I heard Vanessa's soft voice. Jason, doesn't your wife mind you being here all the time? She's just a housewife, Ethan replied, shrugging. She doesn't have much going on, Mia piped up, her voice playful and cruel. Uncle Ethan, why did you marry her? She's not as pretty as Mommy. Ethan laughed and said, Guess I was blind back then. That was it. My heart didn't just break. It shattered. In that moment, I realized this child would never be enough for him. I would never be enough for him. So I made a decision right then and there. I would protect this child, love this child, raise this child, but I would do it without Ethan Hayes. I didn't go home that day. I couldn't. After what I saw, after what I heard, walking back into that house felt like walking into a trap. So instead, I wandered. For hours. Through streets I barely recognized, with my hand resting protectively over my stomach and my mind racing. I was carrying a child, his child, but I couldn't trust him with that truth, not anymore. By nightfall, I had made up my mind. I wouldn't beg, I wouldn't cry, I wouldn't even try to fight for space in his life anymore. I packed a small bag, left my wedding ring on the dresser, and walked out. There was no goodbye, just silence. The first few nights were the hardest. I didn't go to my parents. I didn't want to worry them. Instead, I found a short-term rental, a tiny one-bedroom apartment just outside Portland. It wasn't much, barely 650 square feet, but it was mine. For the first time in years, I had space to breathe. I slept with my hand on my belly every night, whispering to the little life inside me, "We're going to be okay." Morning sickness hit hard. I couldn't keep anything down. There were days I couldn't even drink water without throwing up. And yet somehow, I found strength. I had to. I dragged myself to prenatal appointments. I kept freelancing as a jewelry designer, working from that small kitchen table with swollen feet and puffy eyes. And even though I was alone, I never felt lonely. I had my baby. That was enough. Meanwhile, Ethan never called, not once. But I still saw him, online. His social media was a highlight reel of his new life. There were videos of him pushing Mia on the swings, of Vanessa smiling weakly at the camera, of them decorating cupcakes like a picture-perfect family. The captions read like poetry. Through the hardest times, love gives us strength. I nearly laughed. Strength? That man had no idea what strength looked like. But I didn't leave a single comment. I watched in silence. Let him have his story. I was building mine. 7 months in, I used my savings, money he didn't even know I had, to buy a small, cozy 2-bedroom condo in the suburbs, fully furnished, bright sunlight pouring through the windows, a nursery painted soft blue and white. I named my baby Noah the moment I saw his heartbeat on the monitor. A name that meant comfort, peace, protection. Everything I planned to give. Him. And on a chilly spring morning, Noah entered the world. He weighed 7 pounds, 3 ounces, and had a full head of dark hair, just like his father. But when I looked at him, all I saw was mine. my son, my reason, my beginning. Ethan never knew. I didn't tell him, because this wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about making him regret anything. It was about letting go, finally, completely, and choosing myself, choosing us. Noah was 3 months old when I saw Ethan Hayes' name on my phone for the first time in nearly a year. I didn't answer. I couldn't, not after everything, but something told me he had finally figured it out, that the child he told me to, abort, had been born, and I had never told him. I had moved on, or at least I was trying to. My jewelry business was growing fast. I opened a small boutique in downtown Portland with a friend, and every waking moment was divided between designing, breastfeeding, shipping out orders, and stealing kisses from Noah's chubby cheeks. I was exhausted, yes, but I was thriving. We were happy, whole, safe. So when Ethan started showing up again, calling, texting, even leaving flowers at my shop, I felt nothing. Not rage, not longing, just emptiness. It was too late. Still, the universe has a cruel sense of timing. One cold December morning, my friend sent me a screenshot of Ethan's latest post. I stared at it for a long time, my heart weirdly still. It was a picture of him and Vanessa standing in front of a hospital window. She was bald, pale, frail. Mia clung to her arm like a vine. The caption read, "No matter how long the storm lasts, I'll be here, for both of you, always." 2 weeks later, news spread fast. Vanessa had passed away. She was only 34, a tragic end to a heartbreaking story. I didn't cry. I felt sorry for her, yes, but I had cried enough tears already. But then, something else happened. Something Ethan never saw coming. A man came forward claiming to be Mia's biological father, with proof, DNA results, paperwork, dates that lined up perfectly. Mia wasn't Ethan's child. Not by blood, not by law, not by any definition, really. Ethan had given up everything for a lie. He had signed the adoption papers, sold his house to pay for Vanessa's treatments, and buried his marriage for a child that was never his. It was karma, I guess, but the kind that doesn't feel satisfying when it finally hits. I heard from a mutual friend that he broke down at Vanessa's grave, screaming, sobbing, smashing the tombstone with a rock. He lost it. Everything. And then, just days later, I got a knock on my boutique door. I froze when I saw him. Ethan looked unrecognizable. His face was thinner, his eyes sunken, his clothes hung loosely off his frame. He didn't say a word, at first. He just stared at me, then down at Noah, sleeping peacefully in my arms. "Is he mine?" he asked, voice hoarse. I didn't answer. I didn't owe him anything. Not after what he said. Not after what he did. He stepped forward. "Grace, please. I know I made a mistake, but I want to be part of his life. I want to fix things." I met his gaze, steady and cold. "You can't fix what you never tried to protect." And with that, I closed the door. After I closed that door on Ethan Hayes, I thought that would be the end of it, that he would walk away, finally realizing that not every mistake gets a second chance. But I underestimated how desperate regret can make a man. Over the next few weeks, he kept showing up, outside my boutique, near my apartment, even once outside Noah's daycare. I never let him close. I never allowed him a real conversation. But he kept trying, leaving messages, sending letters, asking for just one more chance. "Grace," one of the letters read, "I was wrong. I see that now. I lost everything. Vanessa, Mia, the truth, and you. Please don't let me lose my son too." But it wasn't about loss. Not anymore. It was about what he chose to throw away. I blocked his number. I stopped reading the letters. I started making arrangements to leave. My business partner and I had been planning to expand overseas for months, and now felt like the right time. I wanted to start over somewhere fresh, clean, Somewhere Ethan couldn't haunt every corner of my city. When I finally bought the plane tickets, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. I was taking Noah, my sweet, beautiful son. And we were going to build a new life, one with no shadows, no ghosts, no Ethan Hayes. But the night before our flight, he found out. He stormed into the airport terminal like a man possessed. Security tried to stop him, but he pushed through the crowd and found us at the gate. "Grace!" he shouted, breathless. "Please, don't go. Don't take him away." People stared. I stood frozen, Noah's tiny hand in mine. Ethan looked broken. Red eyes, trembling hands. But I didn't feel sorry for him. I remembered how he left me at our anniversary dinner, how he told me to abort the life I now held close to my side. "You made your choice," I said calmly. "Now I'm making mine." "He's my son," Ethan choked out. "I have a right." "You gave up that right," I cut in, my voice firm. "When you left me for someone else, when you told me I wasn't enough, when you chose a lie over your own family." He fell to his knees, literally, right there, in the middle of the terminal. "Please, I've lost everything. Don't take him too." I looked down at him, and for a moment, I saw the man I once loved. The man I thought would protect me, cherish me, build a life with me. But he was gone, long gone. "I'm not taking him away," I said softly. "I'm giving him a future." And with that, I turned and walked toward the gate. The flight took off just as the sun broke through the clouds. Noah slept against my shoulder, his tiny breaths steady and warm. As we soared higher, I closed my eyes and let the past drift away, like the shrinking city below us. We were free. Finally. And this time, I wasn't looking back. If this story moved you, I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Do you believe Grace made the right choice by walking away? Should Ethan have been given a second chance? Or was it too late, the moment he turned his back on her and their unborn child? Everyone's perspective is different, and your voice matters here. Tell me, what would you have done if you were in Grace's shoes? And where are you watching this from? Whether you're in New York, London, Manila, or somewhere in between, I'd love to know how far this story has reached. Your comments not only support this channel, they help build a space where real emotions and hard choices can be shared openly. So don't be shy. Scroll down, say hello, and share your thoughts. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. A brand new story, just as powerful and unforgettable, will be dropping tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. Until then, take care of your heart and remember, you deserve a love that never makes you feel second best.